So we're going to do a mindfulness of breath and body meditation. And this is the start of us learning to practice acceptance. Acceptance through paying attention to the bodily sensations and to emotions that arise and difficulties that arise. So the practice here is to notice when we become distracted, notice when the mind has gone, and gently return it back to the meditation and the breath in the way that we've been practicing. And I'll guide you along the way. So let's begin by just taking a moment to check in with our posture and see if we're feeling comfortable and best able to stay in this position for the next 10-15 minutes. And if we're satisfied there, let's bring some awareness to the feet on the floor and really start to notice that connection with the earth. And perhaps also noticing the feeling of the chair underneath the body, supporting us. Perhaps inviting a sense of releasing the body and just releasing into the chair. And noticing how it feels in our minds in this particular moment. Do we feel comfortable or uncomfortable? What are we saying to ourselves? And is it possible to invite the mind to quieten down, and perhaps an image of the mind as the blue sky might be helpful? A full expanse of blue sky, and then the thoughts that come into our mind, as they always do, like clouds passing through. And if we can have a sense of noticing when we're lost in the story of the thought, we can watch that cloud just drift away and take the thought with it. And like all thoughts, some of them will be light, white, fluffy clouds, and some will be dark and somber clouds. So if we can practice allowing them to be there, but watching them, observing them from a distance, and perhaps allowing them to drift away as we gently bring our attention back to the breath, the sound of my voice. So let's find the breath. Let's notice as we inhale the sensation of breathing. Perhaps we can notice the temperature of the air on the inhale, or the little flare of the nostrils. Perhaps the feeling at the back of the throat. Or perhaps for some of us, it's more accessible to follow the breath through the belly, and maybe even placing a hand on the belly. And just connecting with the inhale and the exhale. And breathing in and breathing out. And if the breath is difficult for us to focus on, we can focus on the sole of our feet or the palms of our hands. So choosing one area where we will continually bring our attention back to when we notice we've gone off in the tangent of thought. And that's going to be the practice. And taking a moment to see if it's possible to release the shoulders a little bit more, to soften the belly, to allow the body to become heavy. and to connect with the breath wherever it feels most accessible, or the palms of the hands or the soles of the feet. And let's just breathe here in this place. And remembering that if we catch ourselves in a story, in thinking, it can be helpful to maybe just label it thinking and take a moment to notice the color of that cloud. What kind of thought is it? Is it a light dark cloud or a gray cloud or a black cloud? Noticing it, giving it some attention, and then inviting it to drift away as we guide our mind back to the sensation of breathing, and seeing if it's possible to stay with the inhalation from the very beginning of the in-breath to the very end of the out-breath. And remembering we have this attitude of gentle curiosity with our experience, bringing a sense of friendliness and kindness to ourselves for whatever it is. We cultivate acceptance in mindfulness. So if we notice the mind is really being repeatedly drawn to a particular thought or a pattern or emotion, then perhaps we can take the opportunity in this practice to deliberately bring our attention onto that experience. And noticing if it's possible to be with it without grasping or gripping too tightly onto the experience, or noticing the desire to push it away if it's an unpleasant experience. And always knowing that if it feels too difficult, we can let go of being with it. But if we feel comfortable, we can breathe with sensations, perhaps noticing in the body where this emotion or thought is showing up, where's the tightness or the tension, what's going on. And then is it possible to breathe with those sensations, softening and opening gently. And always allowing the breath to calm us. to be our safety net. And with curiosity, noticing any increase or decrease of intensity as we explore the edges of our experience. Breathing in, breathing out. Noticing if our mind gets lost in thought, saying well done to ourselves for noticing that, because that is an act of mindfulness, becoming aware. Perhaps labeling it thinking, or if we notice an emotion, labeling the emotion. And gently allowing the thoughts to float away on the cloud of the right color. And then choosing, if it feels comfortable, to be with that emotion for a while, breathing and holding space for it, accepting that this is what's here right now. Maybe even saying to ourselves, it's okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. It's already here. Let me feel it. And then gently starting to increase the inhalation. Perhaps if it feels comfortable, maybe having a little sway of the body, still with our eyes closed, but starting to come to the point where we'll be coming out of the meditation. Perhaps taking a moment to listen to the sounds that we can hear around us in this present moment. Noticing sounds close by, but also those slightly further away. And listening for the sound of the bell to gently bring this meditation to a close. So giving yourself time for a stretch, maybe a yawn or a movement that feels good. Yeah, having a drink of water or tea. And then when you're ready, we're going to go straight in to the eating meditation. So if you want to find whatever little object or item of food that you found while we're still in this mindful space, and we're going to eat it mindfully. So I'd like to invite you, first of all, to hold your object just in the palm of your hand and look at it. Really look at it. Noticing the color or different colors, the depth of the color. Noticing the feel. Is the skin or the outside edge of this item, is it rough or smooth? Does it feel pleasant or unpleasant? Perhaps turning it around and looking at the upside down. Is there a stem where it once connected to a branch? Or has it already been peeled? What's going on there? What's the story behind this object? Is it manufactured or has it been grown by somebody? Maybe a family who have an orange farm somewhere in another part of the world, who've spent their lives growing and cultivating these fruits. Perhaps their families, their fathers and their forefathers also worked in this way, and maybe there's a lot of love and passion gone into the creating of this item. So we're just going to notice all that there is before we even begin to get towards a taste. Really noticing and thinking about the story and the object we're holding. And we do this because often when we eat, we don't really give our full attention to eating. So when we get to the eating part of this practice, we're going to do so slowly and in silence, just to have a sense for how it is to really focus on eating. And just so you're aware, it's totally normal for different feelings and reactions to arise as we go through this practice. You might be curious about it, you might enjoy the experience, but you could also find it really irritating. You could also notice impatience arising. So just becoming, the invitation is to be aware. Is this a pleasant experience or not pleasant? If it's not, what didn't you like about it as we go through it? So we can feed back at the end. You might want to bring your object up to your nose and smell it. Is there a smell? If you really focus, are you able to get through the outer layers and smell the inside layer? What's happening in the mouth? Is there any sense of the saliva glands starting to moisten in anticipation? What's going on? And then if you have something that can be peeled or unwrapped, the invitation is to now slowly start to do that. If you have like an object like a grape, you might want to split it in two or see if it's possible to peel back a bit of the skin. And just slowly having a sense of putting your thumb in and peeling back the tangerine. And maybe noticing the smell as you do that, or noticing the different texture of the flesh, the different colors. Noticing the reaction that we're having to this process of peeling or playing with the item, opening it up a little. And perhaps there's a sound attached to this as well, noticing if there's a sound. And when you're ready, maybe taking a little piece of whatever you've got and putting the end of it on the tip of your tongue. So rather than placing the whole item in your mouth, maybe just exploring with your tongue. What taste or what happens when you just gently start to place the object on the tip of your tongue, just in the entrance of your mouth. Notice an impulse to bite or to eat or to swallow. and what happens when you resist that, because we're going super slowly? What happens in your body if you don't allow yourself to just put it in your mouth and eat it? What's going on? And then when you're ready, maybe taking a bite, maybe not the whole thing, but maybe taking a bite of half, and what happens? Is there any juice? What does the taste feel like now? How is it to the different parts of the mouth running down the throat? Noticing the reaction, that the wanting to sort of grasp the next piece and put it in before you finish the first piece. Is that a craving? Is that a desire? Noticing the impulse to swallow. So maybe with your next piece, maybe try not to swallow. How is it when you try not to do what your body wants it to do? See if you can hold it in your mouth for a bit. How easy is that to do? Do you use your teeth? And are you more aware of every little bit of mouthful that's in your mouth and what happens to it? Noticing the impulse to swallow and noticing the aftertaste. And noticing if you now want to eat more, if you've got more than one piece, or if you haven't finished it already, feel free to do so. So a short intro to mindful eating, and as part of the home play, the invitation of a home play this week, I would invite you to eat one meal mindfully. Now, obviously, those of you in families, it's perhaps best to try and choose a meal when you're on your own, so that you can explore eating in silence and really noticing the different tastes and textures of the food. And the suggestion is that you put your cutlery down in between each mouthful to really give time to each mouthful. And if you can manage maybe 5 or 10 minutes of any meal, the first 5 or 10 minutes, eating in this way and seeing how it might enhance your pleasure. So I'm going to stop the recording and then invite you to share on both practices and how they were for you.